What is up, guys? It's the girl here, Paul Maverick, bringing you another movie review. This movie was requested by Manny. Hey, Manny. And the movie that they requested or recommended that I watched is called Ayyappanum Koshiyum, which roughly translates with Ayyappan and Koshy. I watched this movie twice. I watched it the first time, did a feel for it, and I watched it the second time. And despite watching it twice, I'm gonna give it a 5. The story was good, yes. The characters were awesome, but I didn't care for it. It's like, okay, the story's good and stuff, but you just didn't really care for it. That's what it was to me. I didn't really care for it. I know a lot of people would say, oh, well, it's a good movie. I liked it, blah, blah. And that's fine. You liked it. I didn't care too much for it. And, it just didn't grab me, I just kind of felt like it could have been... I don't know. It's just, I kind of felt like they kept on dragging it. The movie kept dragging and it didn't need to drag. I just felt like they were trying to put so much into it, unnecessarily. At least that's how I feel. So, basically what this movie is about, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. This movie is about a policeman and an ex-army vet who both have big egos and are going at it. We have Ayyappan, who has, believe it or not, talk about something out of John Wick. He used to be a communist leader that had killed a good amount of people, I believe 43 people. Police got to him and basically, sort of made him turn a new leaf. And he's been with the police force for a while, having 3 years left before his retirement. So he's a well-decorated man. He's kind of been mild. That's what they call his personality has miled out. Where when Koshy comes along, it kind of threatens that. So our story begins with Koshy. He's bringing a stock of alcohol to their destination. He's in the backseat, practically passed out, and his driver is driving him to their destination. The thing of it is, they have to take a different route, but the route they take takes them through a region that is no alcohol allowed. It's prohibited. Basically, like anything like smuggling is prohibited. Where they didn't know that. And so this area does traffic checks to make sure no one's smuggling illegal, things like that. The cops check the car and they see the alcohol stash and they bring in Koshy in. Apparently there's a huge scuffle because he's not happy with the way they're handling the situation. He assaults them. He gets taken to jail. In the process of him going to being in jail, they confiscate his phone. They seize his phone. And with that, they see that he has a lot of important people on his phone. He has politics. He has people who work on news stations and media personalities. So they're a bit taken back. They're wondering, how do we go about this? They went up, they asked, who he is. And it turns out he used to be within the Indian Army, and that he's a son of a very influential businessman. He's the son of a very important person. So they're kind of like wondering, what do we do with this? How do we go about this? What can we do? And Ayyappan comes in. For some reason, he reminds me a lot of my dad. I think because of the mustache and the older one. I think the personality is like my dad. I don't know. He reminds me a lot of my dad for some reason. So basically what ends up happening is that Koshy finds out, basically he asks Ayyappan because he gets brought in because, hey, can you help us out with the situation? He tells Koshy who he is, things like that. Koshi asks, hey, can you guys let me see my family? Can you guys let me see my family? Spend time with them before I go to jail. Can you guys please let me do that? Ayyappan says, no dice, we can't. The thing of it is, you don't have a bail, a bond. You can't be bailed. You have to stay here. There's no bond. There's no nothing for, due to the severity of what you did. We can't let you out. You have to stay here. There's no bail. So he gets mad. He fakes, he gets mad and he decides to fake a meltdown, or fake like he's having some sort of overdose, something like that. So he pretends like he's an addict, that he needs the alcohol. His alcohol levels running low. He needs help. So Ayyappan and a fellow police officer go in to help him out. They give him some alcohol, things like that. Little do they know that they are being recorded, making it look like that they were giving him alcohol, things like that. So basically, Koshi is reprimanded, and he is sentenced to 12 days in jail. After the 12 days, not liking how he was treated, not wanting to be a fool, and as how he gets what he wants, he sends the video that he secretly did, and basically both Ayyappan and the other fellow officer are arrested. They're arrested and things like that. And a friend of Ayyappan comes out, bails him out, and basically tells them there's a deal. There's a deal between someone that knows Koshi, an acquaintance of his, says that if the thing of it is excuse me, I almost forgot this because this is important too. So the condition for after Koshi, did the time and things like that, he is told you have to come back here, and on the condition of every Monday, every so days. I think it was Monday and Thursday, Friday. It was Thursday. So on these days, every so often of these days, you have to come to the station and sign. I guess some registration thing or something. I don't know. Something for bail until it's over. Something like that. So basically, the compromise or the deal was that if they allowed Koshi to do all the bail stuff all at once instead of going to those specific days that he was assigned to, that they wouldn't release the video, that they wouldn't release the video in court because, Ayyappan was out on bail. The trial hasn't started yet. He's on bail. So he agrees. But regardless, of course, the guy goes back on his word. Koshi goes back on his word. It's released. Although, the other deputy does get their job back. Unfortunately, Anna does not, and therefore he gets the medals taken away and things like that. So when he gets out of the jail, because again he's out on bond. No, he was found guilty, something like that. So he comes out and he meets Koshi, and instead of Koshi apologizing or manning up, his ego goes up, and doesn't like that. Let's just say they kind of threaten each other and go, okay, you want to play the game? Let's play. And that's when Ayyappan's past, not past self, but that's where his skills come out to play. It starts off when he, beats the crap out of a crook that happens to be associated with Koshi, and then takes down, his syndicate. The father of Koshi hears about this and tells Koshi, do you know what you did, who you messed with? This is a guy you don't want to mess with. Talk about something out of John Wick. That's Baba Yaga. Now you know what the whole John Wick thing. So as the story continues on, it's all about trying to best be the best out of each other, best out of each other. Ego, things like that. Ego was heavily involved. So, oh my god, it was at one point Koshi and Ayyappan start to fight each other at the police station. And it is assigned, and Koshi's assigned bodyguards from the police. Little do they know that the police are still, they're still loyal to Ayyappan, and they tell him, "Hey, Koshi did a hit on you. He has his goons coming after you. Be wary." He beats the crap out of them. Talk about beating the crap out of them. And then talk about backstabbing too. At one point, the father tries to help Koshi out, his son Koshi out, and Koshi, gets them to go to jail. It's the whole cat and mouse. You do this to me, I do this to you. Constantly. At one point, Annabelle's wife, there's a warrant for her arrest. He doesn't like that. Also, when Koshi's told that, hey, he's coming after you, he goes to, an area to drink there, another Providence. He's found by Ayyappan, gets him off the bike. They mock each other. And eventually you have the final showdown where they're beating the crap out of each other, beating this and that. And, there was a guy. Was he the head I think he was the head of the police station, or he was some kind of lawyer. Whoever this guy was, I can't remember. He goes in to intervene, because that's the final showdown. They start beating each other up. So the guy intervenes and goes, no, stop it, knock it off, blah, blah, blah. So they end up getting the original evidence, because both the deputy and Ayyappan both state he was faking a meltdown. He was saying we were doing what was part of procedure. We were trying to keep his blood alcohol levels balanced. That's why we gave him the alcohol, and that was the alcohol confiscated from his car. That he had in his possession, things like that. Yeah. And then he gets reinstated. He gets reinstated. Koshi goes to jail. Near the end of it, it is like almost everything all over again, but this time they end up shaking hands, talk about, okay, peace, things like that. Everything happened, majority of the fights at least happened in the daytime. Oh yeah, and the wife's warrant was revoked, because it was like there's no need to, she didn't do anything wrong. It was revoked. Things like that. What else? What else? What else? I think that's it. What's kind of funny, because when Koshi, another thing is, Koshi goes to the area to get a drink, and like I said, the guy finds him, puts him on the bike, and they start doing death threats, like, as if, no, I'm gonna kill you, no, I'm gonna kill you. It's kind of funny, because it just reminds me of, like, kids, like, no, I'm gonna hit you, no, I'm gonna hit you, like, something, like, out of high school and stuff like that. I don't know. What else? Yeah. Like I said, they try to put so much in that movie without really need to. I don't know. Like I said, it's way too much where there needs to be and things like that. I don't know. Yeah, that's all I can say. Manny, I'm sorry. I wasn't too keen with this one. I'm gonna give it a 5. Yeah, like I said, some of the fight sequences were awesome. young versus old, I've been doing this for years, you haven't been doing this for years, things like that. Ego. Talk about high levels of testosterone and big egos for both these guys. Yeah, wasn't too big about this movie, to be honest. Wasn't not too big of this. Um, yeah, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm gonna give it a 5. The fight sequences were awesome. The story, even though I've seen something like, well, really not something like a movie like this, but of the whole cat and mouse, I'm better than you, I'm gonna get you back, revenge kind of things. I have seen that many times in various movies, both foreign and American movies. I have seen that. Um, but like I said, the story of why it happened, what had happened, the whole be careful who you pick on kind of thing, that's kind of cool. Because you never know. It could go either or. The person you're picking on could beat the crap out of you, or you never know who's looking after that person you're picking on. It can go either or. Like I said, I'm going to give this a 5. Kind of felt like they were putting way too much in than what needed to be done. I kind of felt like it was dragging at some parts. Um, that's just me. That's just me. I mean, that's my opinion. That's how I feel. If you guys liked it, great, awesome, cool. That's your opinion. That is how you felt. That's great. Me, I felt like I honestly didn't care. Like I said, I watched the movie twice, thinking that maybe I didn't really give it a chance. Maybe I was expecting something, things like that. It didn't sit with me. It was almost like a Tumbar, that horror movie. I just didn't care for it. Just didn't care for it. But Manny, thank you so much for your request, for recommending this movie. I do appreciate it. That's going to be it for me today, guys. Like I said before, I didn't really care about this movie. I'm going to give it a 5. Um, it could have been more, but it's just in those sense. It could have been more in the sense of story wise. It was just as runtime and as execution wise, it was just way too much trying to put in together, in such a short period. I don't know. It just seemed very slow and it dragged for me. Things like that. But like I said, that's going to be it for today, guys. Hope you guys have a wonderful day and be safe there, okay, guys? Bye.